Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident podcast. I am your host, Jen. Today we have three stories that I want to bring to your attention right after this.
Justice for you and me. Justice for Mike Brown.
No justice, no peace.
After the death that shook the entire country, I decided to step up as a community activist and create a global podcast, Woke by Accident. Here, I amplify compelling news stories and matters impacting African Americans and their communities. My goal is to give a voice to the voiceless and have the difficult conversations needed to advance relations and matters of race. Tune in to Woke by Accident podcast. I am your host, Jen, and it is streaming on all of your favorite streaming platforms, as well as our website, www.wokebyaccident.net. Thank you for listening and take care. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident podcast. I'm your host, Jen. I'm glad to bring you another visual episode today. And this will also be shared on the Content Creators of Color podcast. So shout out to you if you are checking us out there. And shout out to all the creatives putting out content. Glad to be a member of the team. So the first story is about Brianna Greer. You may have recalled that we talked about this story before from this summer. Brianna Greer, she was a 28-year-old Black female mother of two who died while in police custody in Hancock County in Georgia. So what happened here is that she was in police custody. She had been having a mental health episode at her home. And as a result, her family called the authorities and she was arrested at that time while in police custody in the vehicle. And while handcuffed, she fell from the vehicle. And so she suffered significant injuries as a result of that fall. And she did die later from her injuries, which included multiple skull fractures and a severe brain swelling. And so there was an update in this case. Originally, incident occurred on June 15th, 2022. And so the district attorney has cleared the officers involved of any charges in her death. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation did get involved after her death to do a thorough investigation where initially they had said that she kicked open the door and that's how she fell. Well, as a result of the investigation, they did determine that the officer did not secure the door, and then she did not have a seatbelt on as well. And that was how she fell out of the car. Fell out of a moving vehicle, which resulted in her suffering these horrible injuries, which led to her death. And so, just a really horrible story. There was a similar story involving a young man not too long ago where he was injured in the back of the police vehicle. And so these types of things happen. We're seeing them more and more with Black people and being in custody of the police and things like that. So definitely want to bring that to your attention. My thoughts are with the family, very unfortunate situation. And it also reminds me of a conversation that we've had on the show before about mental health episodes where, when someone is having an episode, you're calling the police to be the solution or provide a resolution to the situation, where had it been a mental health or licensed therapist, the situation could have been resolved in a different way, or without high levels of violence. In this case, it was an accident. However, it would be, the family was definitely seeking accountability on the part of the police to take responsibility for her death. And the manner of which it happened, since she was in police custody at the time and died as a result of this officer not properly closing the door, which she should have. So the district attorney determined that they won't um, take it any further in this particular case. So, rest in peace to Brianna Greer. Definitely very sad case. And they have been, waiting for answers on this for a while, since that happened back in July. The next story I want to bring to your attention is one that I know I have not heard a whole lot about, and it impacts, the community. So, a Black woman was recently was able to escape from being held captive and against her will in a community in Kansas City, Missouri. And so, wanted to bring this one to your attention. A 22-year-old Black woman escaped after being abducted by a white man, where she endured being tortured, beaten, and sexual assault for a period of several weeks, and held in a basement. And so she was able to escape the home on October the 7th after being held in captivity. She was found wearing a metal collar with a padlock, and a plastic lingerie type of garment. And so she was able to escape the home while the suspect was taking his child to school, and get the attention of the neighbors, who were able to call the police. And they did take him into custody. According to the report, and this information comes from theguardian.com, that she had been held since the beginning of September. And so, what's really striking in this case is that the police had heard complaints and prior calls from the community about missing women, missing Black women in particular, in this community. In this community of Kansas City, there's a particular street, Prospect Avenue, where several Black women had went missing and believed to be dead. And they brought it to the attention of the police, and they said that the claims were unfounded, and they didn't look into the matter any further. So it's really by the grace of God that this woman escaped and brought this matter to light in this community. As Excelsior Springs is the suburb of where the home of the individual who had the woman captive. Timothy Haslett is the name of the suspect. He was 39 years old. He's a white man, and believed to support white supremacy beliefs and that type of propaganda and rhetoric, from what they found. The Kansas City Defender was very instrumental in sharing this story about the missing Black women. And it's believed that other women were a victim of this Timothy Haslett as well, where the report indicates that the victim who escaped shared that her friends alive and things like that. However, the police has not given any additional details to those factors of they said that there's no other women found and but there were no other people or women found. However, if they had been deceased, you would think they would want to investigate further. Perhaps, maybe they're buried there, or, look into the claims and look into the house and, look for other signs of prior life there. Yeah, very disturbing story. And what's more disturbing is that, well, I guess I would say just as disturbing as the fact that this woman endured this type of abuse is that the claims and concerns were raised to the police in this community by several community leaders and organizations. The Kansas City Defender, in particular, had raised concerns, and they went on deaf ears with the police there. And it wasn't until this woman was able to make it out on her own that they start taking a look at the claims more seriously. And still, we don't have any update on that information. I mean, so I would hope to see some additional details with this matter. I imagine she's very traumatized, but perhaps they can, do further investigation and interviews with her to try to get some more information that may be able to uncover details with these other missing women in that community. So, again, the suspect who was arrested and responsible for the holding this woman captive was a 39-year-old Timothy Haslett, and he held her in his basement home in the basement of his home in Excelsior Springs, which is a city just northeast of Kansas City, Missouri. So yeah, definitely really shocking story. And but definitely glad to hear that the woman escaped this type of ordeal. The last story I want to bring to your attention was about a finding of a correlation of uterine cancer with hair straighteners that many Black women and women, people of color, use in their hair. So let me pull that in front of me here. So this information came across on MSNBC that there was a link between chemical hair straighteners and uterine cancer in Black women. So on October 17th, the National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences published these particular findings in the sister study where over 33,000 women were tracked for 11 years. And the goal of this particular research was to identify factors regarding breast cancer and other health conditions. So they weren't even really looking for this particular type of cancer in the um, intention of the research. But what they found is that over a particular time frame, over that time frame, 378 women were diagnosed with uterine cancer, and those who had used hair straighteners over 4 times in the previous year were more than twice as likely to develop the uterine cancer compared to the women who did not use those products. And then it goes on to say that 60% of the women who reported using hair straightening products identified as Black. And so that definitely reveals a correlation between the hair straightening products and the ingredients included in particular and Black women. The while it did not list certain brands, there were certain chemicals, ingredients, which contributed to the uterine cancer risk, which included parabens, bisphenol, 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 metals, and formula, form, formaldehyde. Formaldehyde. So parabens, like you see that one quite a bit in different types of creams and moisturizers, even shampoos. So I know my hair specialist who takes care of me always says look for the ones that don't have parabens in it, because those are the harmful chemicals that lead to, cancers and these types of things. So that's why it is a good idea to use natural products. And really, based on this information, it's a good idea to simply go natural and avoid and prohibit using these chemical based hair straighteners. It also, dyes and certain bleaches used to color the hair have some of these types of ingredients that lead to the cancer. And I know I have went natural before, just growing out my relaxer. And it, is more work and what have you, but I definitely think I am going to go back on that path. Currently, wearing a protective hairstyle with extensions just for the look and so on. However, when I'm wearing my own hair, I do usually wear a relaxer just for convenience and easy maintenance. But definitely, based on this information, I definitely want to grow out my relaxer and continue and maintain a natural hair program in my life. So, there's definitely different ways to rock a straight look without using these types of products. So, yeah, I'm convinced and that no more creamy crack. That's what some people tend to call the chemical hair straightener creamy crack. I know there's been a few documentaries. I know Chris Rock had one, and there's one going on right now that Tracy Ellis Ross has a hair series about Black women and their hair. And it's really a huge, even emotional process that you go through from the memories that you dealt with as a child with your parent or your, family taking care of your hair, from being, going through becoming a woman and maintaining it as a woman. There's just so many twists and turns you take with your hair. Different health conditions that has impacted the um, quality and condition of your hair. We've suffered breakage and, brittleness and different types of things we've went through with our hair. So this story definitely struck a chord in me, because hair and that type of thing is something that I am definitely into. Definitely like to change up my look and things like that. So definitely want to avoid cancer and these types of ingredients and chemicals that would put me in at risk for that. So definitely want to share that information with you guys, that there was a correlation and link between chemical hair straighteners and uterine cancers. So check the labels on your hair products, and the parabens, the metals, and things like that, and let's try to avoid it. So yeah, definitely wanted to share that with you. I appreciate you all listening. Before I forget, if you are enjoying the program, we appreciate if you would like and share and subscribe, if possible, on the YouTube version of the program. We definitely appreciate you listening, as these types of stories are so important, and we definitely want to share it with the community so that we can make a change and a difference um, in the world. So with that, I will go ahead and conclude everything. um, Everyone, take care, and I appreciate you guys. Have a great day.